The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Well, there you go, folks. They're starting to bring it up in the malpractice media, which means they're just doing a little predictive programming for you. Welcome to the show. I'm John Lebang, your host for the next, little while as we sit through the malaise of garbage that the malpractice media is going to unleash on you. Because we have an election coming, and now we're hearing from pollsters and others, people are coming around to this, that the election is going to be a little tainted when it comes to the results. We have a pollster being talked up who's predicting that Trump's going to win on election night, but a week later Biden's going to be declared the winner. Oh, is that because of all the fraud mail-in voting? So no one is going to accept the upcoming election because we're going to be told one thing and then we're going to be given the other. However it works out. And then there's going to be a court fight. And the Electoral College doesn't even vote until the 14th of December. So they're going to fight it out in court, at least up until then. And then the Electoral College is going to do their thing, and they're going to pick whoever they're going to pick. Because it's going to be up in the air, probably. Most likely. Not like this election really matters, because what's the real difference? Or as our favorite person in the world said, what difference does it make? Things are going to go left if Biden wins. And if Trump wins, we're going to have the same. I'm hearing people talk about, it's going to change after the election. Were you awake after last time when he won the first time? And the protests in the streets and and it hasn't stopped. Have you forgotten about that because we've had too much pounded on us over the last few months? Now I'm finding that even the alternative media YouTubers out there and alike are finally coming around to the idea that the election's going to be tainted. No, one way or the other, it's going to probably rip the country apart and put us into a civil war. I forgot. Somebody said that crap a long time ago and nobody believed them or nobody even, that's because they don't pay attention to this guy. I understand that. We're not in the clique like a lot of other people, or he's not in the clique. I'm sorry to include myself in that. We are starting to find out in the mainstream that the election is going to be a giant mess. They're preparing you for it, ladies and gentlemen. They're preparing you for it because it's, what did we say a long time ago? They are creating the conditions for all this to happen. And in the so-called most important election in the history of this country, they've decided to test out a new way of voting in that year. Just like they're rushing through the vaccines so we can all get injected by the military in the coming months. This is This is what both political parties have set up, folks. Because now we know the CDC's data was incorrectly counted, and in some cases were 94% or 93%, in the 90% range of being wrong on their data. We already knew that. We already knew they were counting car accidents as COVID patients because they had COVID supposedly in their system, even though the car accident killed the person. We knew that. This is nothing new. This is the CDC going, hey, yeah, we've been tricking you the whole time. We've been BSing you the whole time to get you to comply with an overall agenda. They didn't say it in those words, but that's how it's worked out, folks. We've all had to comply, right? The face masks, this being locked down, losing your job in some instances. So the CDC's numbers have been incorrectly counted. In fact, we know that governors sent sick older people into homes that had older people that were vulnerable, and the death count went up. We've covered that. We're supposed to go to the voting booth this November and pick people who have created this mess for us and who have, by all accounts, fibbed at very least, twisted the truth, manipulated it to get us to do something. And now people are seeing the election's going to be tainted because, well, now they're even telling us. Yeah. See, it's as simple as I talked about 2 weeks ago. The only way to fix this, ladies and gentlemen, is to sit it out. Banger 2020, folks. None of the above. We need to sit this election out. It doesn't matter anyways. It's going to be tainted. Do you want to go through the trouble of going down there and vote, and they then decide that the whole thing, that Trump wins one night and then Biden wins a few days later, or 3 or 4 days later when they get around to cheating to get Biden to win? If that's going to be the case, because I can't, my crystal ball doesn't work that way. I still believe Trump's going to win because he's allowing the agenda to go along and his hands have remained a little undirty. Biden's hands are way too dirty already. 40-some years in government. Plus, they need us to continue fighting, and I think we're going to fight a heck of a lot more between the people, the citizenry of this country, if Trump wins, because they're still going to have a reason to burn up cities then. And blood's been drawn all over the country now, and it's only going to get worse. And when we have an election that's tainted, you don't think that's going to push us even further into a civil war? So again, the only thing we can do, ladies and gentlemen, is sit this one out and tell them all to go. Everybody who's running right now, just no, we don't want you. Everybody in government, get the hell out. We need to kind of start right back from the Constitution. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's a pipe dream. We don't have enough people who are willing to stand up and do that. Because it takes risks. And, there's not many people who want to take those kind of risks these days. But the way things are going, folks, the country is done. It's just a matter of time. What I was talking about in the last broadcast, everything is coming down in December. Everything is coming down in December. 2021 is going to be a whole new world. Whole new world. So everything you're holding on to, hold on to it, but man, don't expect it to be there come the new year. because the powers that be are doing their thing and disregarding what is good for you, the little people. They're moving ahead with whatever agenda they're moving, and it appears that both political parties here in the States are going along with it. Because with this new CDC data, as Roy Potter said in his latest video, it pretty much gives the opportunity for the president to rescind the national emergency. Although, Roy, I don't think it is possible at this point to rescind it. If you want to talk about that on our own, we can do that. But that's an hour's worth of discussion in itself, and we're not going to do that on the radio. So, Roy, if you hear that, if you hear what I just said, contact me. We'll discuss why I think that. But we have this election that's going to be tainted, which is going to rip the country apart. When 2021 shows up, do you really think, ladies and gentlemen, that this country is going to even slightly resemble the country of 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Under the command of Donald Trump, we have shifted into a state of pre-Civil War, if not the early days of Civil War. And I've been telling you all along, not because I'm some prophet, not because I'm anything but just a little person who has the same problems as the rest of you. We better prepare. Stock up. And it's almost impossible now. There are still some things to stock up on, but some of the more important things are getting very difficult, because the more important things right now aren't necessarily the food and water. You need those, no doubt about it. But the country has turned to a violent mess. And any peace-loving person now is at risk, because there's violence on all sides. And unless you join one of the two sides in this, notice again, it's a two-sided argument. And the third side, the people who are always in the middle of everything, are going to be made to suffer for this. So you need to prepare a way to stay out of the way. And hopefully they don't show up on our front doors. And that's what happens when a country goes political instead of unites behind belief systems that the country was founded on. If we can't all agree to be Americans with the same basic beliefs, freedom, self-governance, we don't have any of that right now. The two of the biggest concepts of this, of the origin of this country, freedom, self-governance. Name me a politician supporting that. Name me a political group, a protest group supporting that. They're supporting division, destruction, divisiveness from all levels, the very top right down to the streets. And this is coming. It's here. It's just a matter of time before it explodes. And when it does, it's really going to get ugly. We're going to take our first break, folks. When we return, a little more talk.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John LeBang Show will be right back. Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane and the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than an iReader convention.
So, if you're so inclined, I'd like you to do a little research and go to your little internet there and type in www.antifa.com and see where that leads you. See, we recently had a little talk that Joe Biden is surpassing all kinds of donations right now. He's getting tons of it, and they're like, Joe Biden's going to win. Joe Biden's going to win. Well, if you go to Antifa.com, you'll find, and I want you to type it in yourself. No, don't click on any link that I give you on the website or anything, because you might not believe me. Do it yourself. You'll find that it goes right to the JoeBiden.com website. Oh, yeah. Does that mean Antifa and Joe Biden are on the same team? That's rhetorical, folks. We already know that. But wouldn't that, if Trump was really trying to get out corruption, isn't that getting into the area of RICO? Couldn't they do something about that? We have a presidential candidate that's directly tied to a terrorist group that's part of the burning down of the country? Just a question I ask. I'm not no legal scholar, that's for sure. Doesn't sound right to me. But that's not all. All the places Joe gets his money. Apparently the BLM donates a lot of money to the Joe Biden campaign as well. And you know how much money they're getting right now? They're getting so much money they're doing TV commercials. That's right. So that's great. That's just, we have Antifa shooting Trump supporters in Portland. That whole city's just ruined. Totally ruined. I wouldn't go to that city. And anybody who lives there, I'd get the heck out, because they're going to come for you eventually. If you're not one of the ones that support all that burning and looting, people, notice that they're not the brightest people in the world doing this either. Their IQ is on the lower level. They're not the most intelligent. And that's because those are the most easily manipulated people. And they think the world owes them everything, even though, by my estimations, ladies and gentlemen, I've been here a little bit. The country has pretty much given a lot of those younger people a break. Back in my day, you'd had to go out and get a full-time job so you could have insurance. These days, mommy and daddy can carry you till you're like 27 or something. Hey, we all have toilets, or most of us do. You people burning down cities don't like toilets or something. Doesn't look like you like too much of the luxuries of society, although I'm sure you tweet a lot and some other things. So you're confused, as with maybe your orientations as well. You're confused about all that. Country may not be the most perfect country, but the best the world has. Just saying. It's the best the world has. And you're ruining it. And the political powers that are guiding the country are ruining it. The malpractice media is ruining it. Political parties, all that stuff. Very few people are saving this country. And at this point, what's there to save? It's the Constitution and the concepts there that really should be saved. The system that's been built over the last couple hundred years, and especially, we'll say, over the last 100 years, from Woodrow Wilson on, has just been an abomination as far as I'm concerned. Sure, there were a lot of great things that this country did, but we moved to a socialist slavery country from that point on. And it was a slow burn all these years, and now we're coming to the apex of it all. And that means it's got to be burned all down, man. Burn it all down. That's because people don't self-govern. A self-governing righteous person is not going to burn down or a building or tear down statues that aren't their property. If you want to burn down something, but burn down your own house. I mean, your insurance might not like that too much. Chances are most of these people don't have their own home. They don't even understand the concept of self-governance. You can own a home if you know how to self-govern. Even people who don't self-govern all that well own homes. People think the election's going to change something. It's not. Biden wins. That means Antifa wins. What kind of country is it going to be if that happens? Where they're going to have free reign in any neighborhood they want to protest you in your home if you do not comply with their belief system, their power structure. Hardly anything different than the little communist movement there when Stalin was taking out the Christians and other religions because he wanted this atheist revolution of sorts. People don't talk about that. Communism, atheism was on the rise out there. They started rounding up priests, I think it was like 78,000. But regardless of the number, it was just crazy. They were trying to get rid of the belief structure that opposed their. And that's what's going to happen. But now, instead of over religious beliefs, because I consider atheism a religion, it's just the anti-religion religion. But instead of over religious beliefs, now it's going to be over political beliefs. And in the 21st century, coming up on the 21st year, almost, at least the 21st winter solstice starts on 12/21. So in many ways, that's the beginning of the new year for some that believe in the solstice and all that. When Saturn and Jupiter will come into conjunction with our moon. That's all happening, 12/21. The 21st winter solstice in the 21st century. Agenda 21, Event 201. That 21 comes up a lot. And it didn't all happen in the year 21 because we're not there yet. But it's coming. And if you think the year 21 is going to be a better year than 20, I can't guarantee that. In fact, I'm of the belief that the country's going to look so different than what we knew just a year ago that it's going to be unrecognizable. And we're going to continue to go down that path if we continue to support the system that has allowed the destruction of this great country. They have willingly participated in it. But what are you going to do, folks? You going to go out there and vote for the guy you love, or the lesser of two evils? Or are you going to just sit this one out and say the heck with it? I cannot support this system any longer. And I'm not, again, talking about the Constitution. I am talking about the system that has been created between the two political parties. I can't give approval to one because I disapprove of both of them. They have led us to this awful place. And there's no way they're not all on board on this. Because now with the new CDC numbers, the revised numbers showing that some of their cases were 94% or 90% off. And so many less people actually died from the vid. Like Roy Potter said, Trump should rescind the national emergency. Although, I don't think he can. Well, folks, we're up against it. We're going to do a short show today. In the second half, you'll hear Poker Face, one of our Bangerverse specials. We're going to take a couple weeks off to not only recharge the batteries, but to get a lot of things caught up on our end here. So when we move towards the eventual October surprise and election and what is coming in December, we're going to be ready to handle it all. So if there's any events that come up that are newsworthy that we need to talk about, you'll need to go to the website because I'll do some short videos on that. The website being www.jlebang.com. We'll keep in touch. We'll make sure we're on the ball. We're going to do the daily brew. So you're going to have ways of keeping up to date on what's going on with us and how we see things. But it's about time that we finish up some of these projects that we've been working on so we can be ready for what's coming. Because I'm of the belief that whatever this whole COVID lockdown, pandemic, falsified, whatever this was about, it was to prepare us for something that's coming. And by all accounts, from what the political class, the experts, and the election is telling us, December is going to be a very interesting month. So I hope you all stay safe, keep preparing, stay aware, be good to each other, make sure you're just get yourself right with God if that's what you need to do. Not so sure that things are going to be so awesome in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months if they're ever going to get back to any form of normality. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. This is John Lebang signing off for now.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance